Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 10 of the NordCast. Double digits this time. We're here with the man himself, Kata,
What's up, boys and girls, I guess.
and we're also here with the 0-2 Betman, Jack,
Yeah, that's me. What's up, everyone?
and obviously your host, Nordic. So, welcome back, everyone. It's episode number 10. We're already at double digits, guys. How's that feel? Pretty big
Feels
accomplishment.
great.
Awesome.
Going
It's
strong.
Didn't
awesome.
expect we'd make it this far.
Didn't?
I knew we'd make it.
That's hurtful.
I'm kidding. All right, so today, in honor of our 10th episode, we're going to be taking a look at every single team and kind of giving a basic overview of their season so far. Because more or less, when we come on here for a podcast, it's like 40 minutes to an hour and a half. So we talk about most teams, but we don't talk about every single team. So this is kind of the episode to give us an opportunity to talk about every team and how they're doing so far this season. And just as a disclaimer, these stats are as of Tuesday, December 6th. I know they might be a little bit updated as the days go along, but that's as of what we're doing this right now. So yeah, anyways, we're going to get into it, starting off with number 32. Jack, you can take it away.
Yeah, so coming into number 32, we got the Anaheim Ducks. They have only one regulation win this year, so kind of crazy. Their goals for 2.48, goals against for 15.
That is just brutal. Like only 7 wins and you only have one regulation win is brutal. Like that's
Yeah,
honestly horrible.
I know.
It's like I honestly can't believe it. Like you saw this team last year and like you know how they had some potential last year and like it just like completely turned the tide over the course of less than 12 months. And it's crazy. Like this team is the front runner for Connor Bedard right now. And Carter mentioned it before we got started here. Imagine a line of Connor Bedard, Trevor Zegras, and Mason McTavish. That will be the dominant line for like 10 years.
It is honestly insane that we can even contemplate seeing probably one of the best playmakers in Trevor Zegras, one of the best young playmakers, because there's better ones probably ahead of him, one of the best young playmakers with an absolute sniper of Bedard on the same line. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that I mean, like, especially if you get Bedard on that team is going to, like, take off. Like, you see them at 32nd right now. If they get Bedard by next year, oh, man, like, they're going to turn around so fast. It's not even going to be fun.
Yeah, he's a franchise-changing player. But one thing I do want to bring up, seeing as we're on the topic of Bedard, did you see he might get traded from the Regina Pats?
I did see that.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
the Pats are so bad.
Yeah, the Pats are
might as
terrible.
well get rid of them.
Like, when you think about it, I think that's honestly not only, like, best for Bedard because he gets some playoff time, but it's also good for the Pats. Like, that will turn the Pats franchise around with the stars that they get from – I mean, I know it's a whole different league. It's junior league, and there's only, like – I mean, like, there's, like, 3 bona fide superstars in junior leagues like that. But, you know, still kind of interesting. Anyways, we'll move on to player stats. I'll hand it over to Carter, and he's going to talk about some of the leading scorers on the Anaheim Ducks.
Of course, I love talking about stats. I love this. So coming in with their leading scorer, who is a point per game guy, we got Mr. Troy Terry. This guy was elite last year, really showed that he can take control over a team, and he's done that this year. 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 points through the 27 games played. Zegras, 5 points behind him with 22, 9 goals, 13 assists. This guy, listen, he's the best. He's going to go down as probably one of the best Ducks playmakers of all time. Then coming up next, the what?
Yeah, I said yeah.
Did you say something?
I said yeah.
You like cut out halfway through.
Yeah, I know. It's just a little. My Wi-Fi is kind of acting up, so I might.
It's all good.
Yeah, I might bug out here. So sorry, guys.
All good.
Keep going, Carter.
All right, and then we got their leading defensive scorer, Cam Fowler's put up there's actually a pretty decent gap between Zegras and Cam Fowler. Cam Fowler only has 14 points.
Wow.
And Zegras has 22. So between the top two, like the 2 and 3 spot, there's a big chunk of points in between there. So really showing that Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras are trying their best to carry this team.
It's a pretty clear.
Adam Henrique, 100% between those two guys, and then And then Adam Henrique, he missed, I don't know what game it is, but he's only played 26 games. He's got 14 points, 8 goals, 6 assists. And then Mason McTavish, their rookie this year, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. He's looked pretty solid. Like from a rookie perspective, he's looked pretty solid for this Ducks team.
Yeah. How's John Klingberg doing? I know he's hurt, but just touch base on Klingberg here a little bit.
So looking at John Klingberg, he is 8 points through that. I'll try and quickly find his plus minus here. He's minus 12, but that entire Ducks team is in the minuses, so we don't have to super judge him on that.
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, like, you look at this team, you have Terry and Zegras, and that's really it. I mean, honestly. I mean, we're not coming on here and saying that the Ducks were going to take a gigantic step up and make the playoffs and be so good. But we at least thought that, they would take a step higher because they acquired players like, Ryan Strome, who, looking at the stats right now, I have him up. Sorry, Carter, I know this is your job, but he has 14
points. My rule.
He has 14 points in 27 games. So, I mean, like, they brought in some offensive players to really amp up the offense, but so far they really have struggled at getting offense once again. And that's something we didn't see last season. So I'm kind of wondering, well, with guys like, why is his name? It's Sonny Milano, and like guys like Sam Steele, them leaving, does that maybe cause a little less goal scoring? Because that's some secondary scoring removed. And really, I think Anaheim's definitely struggled scoring offensively 100%. As Jack said, like their goals for is really not that good. So,
yeah.
Anyways, moving on to the goaltender stats here. Now, in past years where the Ducks have been bad, the goalie stats have actually been pretty good. This year, it's not really the case. You have John Gibson, 20 games played, 5-12-3, a 3.92 goals against average, and a .897 save percentage. That's brutal. I mean, like when you look at previous years for John Gibson, he was a really good goalie. And then I think, maybe facing the trade rumors in the offseason, maybe that made him think like, oh, maybe Anaheim maybe it just like kind of killed his confidence, and that could be something. Or it could be Anaheim's trash defense. That's probably what Carter thinks.
It's just the Ducks.
I think so too.
It's just the Ducks.
We know what he can do. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with like him and his confidence. I think it's all just the Ducks are just bad.
They should probably look for.
When you look at it, Klingberg, I was doing some notes earlier. Klingberg is hurt. John Moore, a depth defender, is hurt, and Jamie Drysdale is also hurt. So you have some pretty big punctures to that blue line right now. So obviously his stats aren't going to be that good, but they should be better, honestly. But I mean, it is the Anaheim Ducks. They have one regulation win this year. It's been brutal. So I mean, like, I'm not gonna go too in depth with it. But yeah. Anyway, Stolarz, 12 games played. He's only 2-5. So 12 games played, that's like 2 wins, 5 losses. That's like 7 games, but it says he played 12. So yikes, he must have been pulled a lot. 4.05 goals against average and a .886 save percentage. We also thought Stolarz would be better, but hey, it is the Ducks. So yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much all we have for Anaheim. I mean, like, we thought they'd be a little bit better, but like dead last in the league, I did not expect whatsoever, especially with teams like Columbus and Philadelphia and Chicago, being bad. We didn't think the Ducks would be the worst. We knew they'd be like bad, but we didn't think
bottom of the pack.
Yeah, that's just brutal. But yeah, you guys have any last thoughts on the Ducks before we move on?
Disappointed.
Nope, but it's Bedard season.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Jack, who do we got at number 31?
All right. Well, 31, hate to say it, it's my Chicago Blackhawks. Goals for 2.44. Jeez. Goals against 3.56.
Yikes. I mean, like, we expected this. Unlike Anaheim, we did expect for Chicago to be bad. And honestly, some people would say they're actually better than we thought they were going to be. I mean, like, you see we talked about Chicago. True. Yeah, we talked about Chicago in a previous episode and about how, they have a lot of effort and some of their players were performing pretty good. It's kind of died down since then, like we predicted, obviously. But I mean, hey, at least they're, getting the player value up, and the Kane trade rumors, man, they're starting to really ramp up.
He's gone. Jack. He's definitely gone.
Yeah. There's nothing that I don't think he can do to keep him. He's
really.
Yeah, Kane and saves.
Yeah, honestly. Anyways, moving on to player stats. I'm sure there's not that many really eventful players, Carter.
Honestly, no. The only one that's actually surprising is Max Domi is the
Yeah,
number 2 guy. 19 points through 25 games. I don't think anyone really expected this. He is going to be a big deadline piece for some team.
absolutely.
He's going to get a nice return, especially for Chicago. Patrick Kane 25 through 20. Domi, as I already said. Patrick Kane 20 through 25. That's my mistake. Domi 19 through 25. Jonathan Taves, the number 2 guy. And again, a nice little chunk between the 2 and the 3 there. 5 points separates Taves and Domi. Taves with 14 through 24. Kurashev, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know much about Kurashev. I don't know if he's like a good player.
I really like Kershev, actually.
He's got a pretty nice shot.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So Kurashev, he's got 11 through 25, and then Taylor Radish, he's got 10 through 25, and that rounds out their top 5. But Jason Dickinson, though, he's tied with Taylor Radish in 4 less games. So
yeah, Dickinson, like a fourth line player in Vancouver. Like when that trade happened, people said, "Oh yeah, Vancouver's going to win that deal." I'd say Chicago's winning that deal right now. Dickinson looks pretty
good. We got a second rounder too.
Yeah, Dickinson, I mean, like, you come onto a team like Chicago, it's pretty bad. You get a chance to prove yourself. And the same thing
opportunities.
Yeah, the same thing with Max Domi as well. And like Carter said, Domi is performing, and it's a great thing for Chicago. He's going to be a huge
100%.
You see in that 3-way trade that happened last year when Domi went to Carolina, Columbus didn't really get that much, but that was because Domi was kind of a little bit worse. But like if he keeps up this pace, he's definitely going to pass his season high from last year. And I think he could be a huge, like maybe middle 6 piece for a team like, I don't know, let's say Carolina again. I mean, they've been kind of struggling to score offensively as well. So anything could happen, but I think that's definitely a good thing. Looking at these stats here. Seth Jones, 7 points through 15 games. Nice contract, Jack.
Yeah. Great contract.
Great. Actually, though, one thing I'm looking at, Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, he's injured.
He is injured, but at the time before his injury, he was a point per game guy.
Yeah, he was good when he was healthy.
Yeah, he would have been one of the really solid players, but then he got hurt. So unfortunate, but I mean, on an injured team, stuff like that happens. And I mean, hey, you see guys like Radish and Kurashev making their way up into the lineup here. Where's Lucas Reichel? Where's Reichel?
He played last night, actually, because Taves went down, but he just got sent back down today.
Oh, really? I'm looking at it. I don't see anything.
They just don't want to ruin his development because, honestly, Hawks don't have a lot of solid prospects right now, and he's probably the best, like, by a while. So I think it's just they really don't want to ruin him and his progression. So
I mean, yeah, that's kind of true. I know you may not pay attention to the AHL. How has Rockford been? Have they been like okay?
Rockford, they're pretty solid every year. Like they're a playoff team, but then they smoked in like the second or third round.
So I mean, he has a good chance to develop. I guess that makes sense. He'll probably play a lot more next year. Yeah. But when you look at the goalies for Chicago, it's interesting. Starting off here with Arvid Soderblom playing the most games out of all these goalies. 2-7-2, a 3.19 goals against average, and a .906 save percentage. That's fairly solid for like a team that's been awful, and especially over this stretch where they're 1-8-1 in their last 10. Soderblom's looked pretty good, and I watched the game where they played the Islanders. He did really well against an offensive team like New York. So definitely some good news there for Chicago. The next up in line is Peter Mrazek. And by the way, Mrazek and Stalock are both hurt. So just when things couldn't get any worse, both your goalies are out. You have Soderblom and some random guy in the AHL as your backup. Tell me where I've seen that before. 9 games played, 2-5-1, a 4.05 goals against average, and a .884 save percentage. We obviously knew Mrazek was bad in Toronto last year, so obviously it's probably going to be worse in Chicago. And so far, it's kind of happened that, but he is hurt. Stalock, though, on the other hand, has actually looked pretty solid. 7 games played, 3-2-1, a 2.93 goals against average, and a .914 save percentage. He's been out since like early November, but still a really solid player for Chicago so far. I mean, you definitely love to see it. So, I mean, hey, I mean, there's a lot to go before Chicago is a good team, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's cool seeing the rebuild happen. Well, seeing the bad stuff, like them struggling and then like all that, but I think it's pretty cool watching this team build it from the ground up, and I can't wait to see that happen for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And hopefully, maybe Connor Bedard will be that face that saves you.
No, take him to Philly or Anaheim.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
I mean, who knows? Like, I mean, you could get so much in return for Patrick Kane that you may not even have to worry about a bad future soon. So, who knows?
Mhm.
But anyways, moving on here to number 31. Jack, do you know what 31
30.
is?
Yeah, Columbus at 30. Yeah, so goals for, they got 3.69 goals against. Oh, sorry, that was New Jersey. Columbus is 2.58 goals against 3.92.
So yeah, Columbus. I mean, like they got Johnny Gaudreau. I mean, a lot of us didn't see them being that good, except for me. I mean, like, come on, Line A, 55 goals. That was like my worst hot take ever, to be ever posted anywhere. Shout out to M Bon Hockey. But yeah, that was brutal. Of course, and like I jinxed him getting hurt as well. But I mean, like I didn't expect them to be this bad. I thought with Gaudreau, I thought Gaudreau would kind of carry the team a little bit and like, at least make this team somewhat better. But really, it hasn't been that. Columbus has definitely struggled over this stretch, and they've just been absolutely brutal. Apart from Gaudreau, what's the player stats, Carter? Is there anything interesting?
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're, like, looking at this, Gaudreau, 27 points through 24 games. Like, he's literally their only good player. And just like with always, there's always a big gap between some chunks. There's two gaps here. We got Johnny Gaudreau in between Boone Jenner. Boone Jenner, 18 points through 24 games. And then again, Kent Johnson, the rookie, who honestly I think has looked actually pretty solid for Columbus this year. He's looked pretty good. He's got 13 through 21. Gustav Nyquist, 11 through 24. And Chinikov with 11 through 23.
Yeah, Kent Johnson, I mean, comparatively speaking, obviously he's been a really solid rookie. He was great in the World Juniors. I didn't expect him to be amazing in the NHL, but so far he's kind of been pretty good. I'm going to pull up the injuries real quick because, we talk about injuries with Anaheim and Chicago, but Columbus has it really, really bad. I mean, like, this is just brutal. Let's read off some of these injuries here. Jacob Voracek, Jake Bean, Justin Danforth, Nick Blackenberg, Zach Werenski, Adam Boquist, and Texier is out for
Personal reasons.
Yeah, for personal reasons. He's playing at home now, back in Europe. That is brutal. I mean, like, even for a team that's bad, you kind of get why they're this bad. I mean, like, Boquist, Werenski, two huge pieces on that blue line. Jake Bean as well. Voracek, really solid goal scorer. Put up a lot of assists last year for Columbus. And also, odds are he might not even come back, which is terrible. Like, come back at all, which is really unfortunate for somebody like Voracek, who, started his career off in Columbus and kind of rejuvenated himself. But it's really unfortunate, but I guess it happens. So, whatever. All right. Anyways, moving on into the goalies, you have Younes Korpisalo starting off here with 10 games played, a 4.5-1 record, a 3.51 goals against average, and a .905 save percentage. So far, Korpisalo has actually had better stats, and he's probably one of the more better players on Columbus, and that's sad considering the fact that he really doesn't have that good of stats. But Merzlikins is not that much better. 10 games played as well, a 2.60 record, a 4.68 goals against average, and a .866 save percentage. So a brutal start to the year for Elvis Merzlikins, but you can also blame that on the fact that he's also been hurt and the fact that Columbus's defense is so unbelievably depleted. I mean, what are you going to do, really? I mean, like, they really don't have that many options on that blue line. So, I mean, like, at this point for Columbus, it's just the hope the rookies develop pretty well, the hope this team turns it around. And, I mean, odds are they are in the Connor Bedard race as of right now, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. And, I mean, hey, if that cannon keeps scaring Johnny Gaudreau, maybe they won't win anything. Anyways, here, unless you guys got anything left for Columbus, they're kind of one of those uneventful teams. We'll move on here to number 29. Who is it, Jack?
So number 29, we got the Arizona Coyotes. Goals for 2.65, goals against 3.44.
Yeah, I mean, this is another team where, like, I mean, hey, they're in the rebuild. We kind of expected this, and I mean, we saw this come. We saw this coming. I mean, we knew they were going to be bad, but they've kind of been better actually than people may have thought they were going to be. I figured they'd be worse. Some people rank them worse than Chicago, but so far they've been pretty good. So far, or well, they've been better than we think. So
Yeah, looking at expectations, I think they've been better.
and I mean, like, this is a step they want to take in that rebuild, obviously. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's great. So obviously, I mean, like 29th isn't much of an improvement, but I mean, hey, this year's draft class is stacked. I can't wait until come that time of the year we can talk about prospects. But I mean, like, no matter where they place, they're going to get a solid player. So Carter, any interesting players?
Player stats, my bread and butter. Clayton Keller, of course, he's carrying this team. Pretty much like they're one of their few actual good players. He's got 22 points through 23 games. He's almost a point per game guy. This season, he's probably, I'd say he's probably their best player.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like,
Even without Chikrin.
Like, who else? Goss to spare.
Yeah.
Gunther's not at that level yet. So
No.
yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say Keller.
So their best player obviously performing at his best for this team. 22 through 23. And then Goss to Spear, 17 through 23. Maselli, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's got 17 through 21. Moser, I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong.
Moser.
It's all the same.
Dennis Jerome Moser.
Okay. He's got 13 through 23. And then Lawson Krause, he's got 12 through 22 for this team.
Yeah, 10 goals for Lawson Krause. I think
Yeah,
they're most on the team right now. Yep.
He's
So
got most
Krause
on the
has
team.
looked,
Clayton Keller, 3 behind him.
Yeah, Krause has looked really solid so far.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what is there to really say here, really? I mean, Maselli, I mean, like, we didn't expect him to be this good. He's kind of low-key, he's leading the Calder race right now, but half of his points are on the power play. So, depends how you look at it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I mean, like,
Points are points.
like, what do you
Oh,
expect?
yeah.
We don't, what?
Points
are points. Doesn't matter.
That is true, but that's a good point. What do we expect, really? We didn't expect this team to have eye-opening players. Another look at other players. Dylan Gunther, 11 points through 20 games played. Obviously, one of their rookies. We expected Gunther to kind of be a little bit slow, but he's starting to develop a little bit. They decided to keep him around in Arizona, so obviously that's pretty good. Jacob Chikrin here. Since his debut, he has 6 points in 7 games. Interesting there. I mean, like, Chikrin was looked at, people were a little bit worried about his injuries. I know Toronto was worried about his health when they were looking at him. But I mean, hey, like, he's kind of
he's back
solid so far, and he is back, definitely. You look at goaltender stats. You have Karel Vejmelka, one of the most underrated goalies in the league, definitely non-biased. 17 games.
I think he is.
Yeah, he's actually has pretty good stats. 17 games played, 6, 7, and 3, a 3.03 goals against average, and a .912 save percentage. I would also like to mention this. 527 shots have been faced so far through 17 games. That's crazy.
Man.
And they're one of those teams that lets in a crap load of shots, so it's not surprising. Connor Ingram here as the backup, picked up on waivers kind of midway through the year. 7 games played, 1, 5, and 1, a 4.02 goals against average, and a .882 save percentage. So obviously, goalie stats have been okay. Vejmelka, I think, has one of the better statistics of all the other players or all the other goalies down in the bottom, like 5, when you look at it. So far, I think that's pretty good for Arizona, definitely. And Vejmelka looking like the goalie of the future. Oh, God, I shouldn't have said that. Now he's not going to be. But, yeah, Arizona, that's that. But anyways, we're going to take a little break here, and then we'll move on with the rest of the standings.
All right, so now at number 28, we've got the San Jose Sharks. Goals for 289, goals against 357.
Another one of those teams that's like, yeah, they're rebuilding. They're pretty bad, but I mean, like, hey, at
Relevance.
least they actually have relatively better like scoring
They
Oh
do,
yeah.
yeah.
than some of the other teams here. Carter's about to get into it in a second here.
They're actually like they're like one of the most fun teams to watch that are like kind of trash.
I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of all Eric Carlson though. Like, really,
That's true.
pretty much.
like
So, all right. Oh yeah, go.
yeah, Carter.
Stats.
You're excited. Get it going.
I'm big on stats. You know this. All right. Eric Carlson leading this team. He's looking back like his prime self again. He has looked absolutely tremendous. 34 points through 28 games. Their next leading scorer, Thomas Hurdle. I love Hurdle. This guy, I love him. He is
for real.
unreal. He's got 25 points through 28. Logan Couture, 24 points through 28. And then Timo Meyer, who I honestly think is probably one of the more underrated players in the NHL.
He might get dealt.
What?
He might get dealt. I would like to touch base on this in a different episode for time conception, but him and Carlson are one of those two players. They might get dealt.
What Timo, bro?
I mean, like, did you see his qualifying offer? It's like $8 million. Like,
Jesus
it's outrageous.
Christ, they ain't paying that.
Yeah, they're not paying that at all.
All right. Well, he's got 24 through 28. He's 12 and 12. And then Barbanov, he's got 16.
Barabanov. Alex Barabanov.
He's got 16 through 24.
He's
Yeah.
on my NHL franchise mode.
Oh, really? Yeah, he is one of those underrated players. I was gonna say Barabanov, but then he is in the top 5. Really, I mean, like, looking through the rest of this team, outside of that, there isn't that much interesting players. Matt Nieto, 6 goals through 28 games. That's kind of cool. But really, really nothing else of event there. I mean, obviously, like, the top 5 is great. I mean, like, Carlson's looked amazing. Hurdle's looking like himself. Couture's looking like himself. Meyer's looking like himself. So, I mean, like, this team actually, like, they're competitively bad, if that makes any sense. And, I mean, we forgot to say this, kind of like other teams, too. Like, Chicago's one of those teams that's like, well, at least they're showing effort. At least they're, they're playing like they want to win. Unlike, let's say Philadelphia
exactly.
the past couple of years where it looked like they didn't want to do anything. So, obviously, good for San Jose to kind of be competitive. And I mean, hey, they're racking up the player value, and that's huge. That could definitely boost this team ahead a couple of years. Anyways, here, looking at the goaltenders, you have James Reimer, 15 games played, a 5-8-2 record, a 3 goals against average, and a .903 save percentage. And then you have Kaapo Kähkönen as the backup, 11 games played, 3-6-0, a 3.57 goals against average, and a .882 save percentage. Not really that bad. I mean, like, comparatively speaking to other goalies in, like, the bottom 5, that's really not that bad relatively. So definitely good stats there for Reimer and Kähkönen. And Reimer's definitely one of those goalies that I think if a team is looking for a backup, I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but definitely Reimer will probably be the first one to go, if we're being honest. So, yeah, San Jose obviously looking like a very entertaining team.
Yeah.
We're going to try and pick up the pace here a little bit. So, moving on to number 27, right?
Yeah, 27, I think. I think it's 27. Yeah. Anyways, it's the Ottawa Senators. Goals for what?
Remember that episode, Jack?
Oh yeah. We don't
Shut it,
have to
Nord.
talk about
Shut
that.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So Ottawa
Come back.
3.08 goals for, goals against is 3.32.
Yeah. I mean, like, actually though, Ottawa, they're 5-5-0 in their last 10. They're kind of starting to make a turnaround here.
Picking it up.
A little bit too late for that, but I mean, like, hey,
No,
I mean,
it's never too late. We're look
Yeah.
at it. Look at a
late
team
than
like
never.
St. Louis. They were in last place in February,
that is
and then
true.
they won the cup.
Right.
It is
Comeback
never
kids, baby.
too late to
Led
turn a
by
season
DeBrincat.
around.
That is true. And I mean, like, they have been playing
Yeah.
pretty well lately. So, I mean, like, maybe they got a bit off of these games, get some momentum. And I mean, hey, maybe they can make a bigger push for it. That Atlantic is competitive and you don't want to lose games early. But I agree with you. They still probably do have a shot, and it's never too late, obviously. But yeah, Carter, player stats, get it going.
Player stats: Brady Tkachuk, their leading scorer. He's got 29 points through 25 games. also leading their team in penalty minutes. So that's another fun little stat for you there. Stutzla, he's got a 27 through 25. Claude Giroux finding his groove. This is what me and Nordic have known for years, that Claude Giroux is an elite player, and he's finally showcasing that he is pretty much almost a point per game guy. He's finally being allowed to show it. Not on a crappy team like Philly. It's about time. He's got 23 through 25. Alex DeBrincat, Jack's boy. He's got 20 through 25. Only 6 goals though, which is kind of surprising, but
it is
started off a little bit slow.
But hey, and then tied with Alex DeBrincat, same stat line too, 6 goals as well, and he's got 20 points. Drake Batherson again, and Thomas Chabot, they're leading a defensive point score. He's got 14. He had 14 through 20, but he is obviously injured now.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny how like we said that, but Philadelphia is above them. It's just kind of funny.
Only by 1.
It is true, only by 1. But I mean, hey,
it's still ahead.
Chabot, 26 minutes again on ice time. That's gonna kill him. I mean, like honestly, like I think they need to stop giving Chabot so much ice time.
It's gonna kill him.
Some other players, you have Jake Sanderson, 11 points through 25 games played. Obviously, one of those Calder defensemen actually could contend for it. He's been really good for the Ottawa Senators. Shane Pinto there as well, 9 goals, 2 assists, 11 points through 25 games played. Some other solid players on Ottawa, but I mean, like, Jack looking pretty bad right now. Anyways, moving on to goaltenders, you have Cam Talbot, who through 13 games played has a 4-7-0 record, a 2.83 goals against average, and a .907 save percentage. And then you have Anton Forsberg, 15 games played, 5-7-1, a 3.20 goals against average, and a .910 save percentage. Actually better goalie stats than we thought. I mean, like when you look at this team, they were god-awful, but their goalie stats are actually pretty solid. So I'm going to ask this question. I know we've talked about the Ottawa Senators before. We might have even talked about them in our last episode.
I don't think so.
Or episode 8.
Might have been a couple episodes ago.
We definitely talked about them at some point, but do you still think that they should fire DJ Smith?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just thought I'd ask that little question in there. Just we don't need to go
hands down. He's the issue with this team. There's too much talent for him not to be able to make something out of this.
Very true.
And then also with a player like Josh Norris hurt, it's definitely difficult to kind of pick it up. And like Norris and Chabot being hurt, it definitely doesn't help. So yeah, Ottawa kind of making a slow and steady turnaround as of late. We'll see if it picks up. Anyways, now moving on to number 26.
Yeah, 26, we got the Philadelphia Flyers. Goals for 2.46, goals against 3.23.
Yep, I mean, Philadelphia, we expected to be bad. I didn't expect them to be this good, though. 9-12-5 is actually fairly solid, for a team like the Flyers. But, again, another year where they have an absolute crap ton of injuries. We talked about them in the last episode, but they have so many injuries. It's absolutely brutal, and it's like they're so hard to watch because of that. But, like, then again, they are showing a lot of effort, so I will say that. I will give a lot of credit where it's due. Tortorella's gotten a lot of effort out of this team.
Yeah, it's Tortorella, and that's the only reason that we're not dead last right now, and it's Torts.
Yeah, for real.
All right. I love Torts. Anyways, going into player stats, their leading scorer, to a lot of people's surprise, Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, he's really rejuvenated himself.
He just decided to start playing good again, just out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And I love it. I love Kevin Hayes. He's so sick. I love him.
One of the favorites, 100%.
100%. But then we look at their second guy, Travis Konechny. He's got 23 through 21. He was injured, came back, I think 2-3 games ago. Came back a couple games ago.
Yeah, he was hurt for a little bit, but then he's back now, I think.
Yeah.
So he's still getting back in return.
100%. And then we got Joel Farabee. He's got 15 through 26. Tony DeAngelo, their new signing, which honestly I don't think that we should have, because we should have been rebuilding.
It isn't bad. He's been okay, but
he's been okay, but we don't really need him, especially because we're trying to rebuild.
Yeah, not really.
But he has 13 through 25. And then Ivan Provorov, who seems to have kind of maybe found his groove back a little bit. He's started to play a little bit better. He's got 12 through 26.
Defensive wise, too, he actually doesn't have the worst defensive stats on the team anymore. Because, hey, you have Rasmus Ristolainen now. So, like,
Yeah.
you don't have that anymore. Man, I hate Rasmus Ristolainen. 20 games played, no points. Great signing, Chuck. Love it. Yeah. Oh, my. Oh, don't get me started. But, yeah.
I thought he had points.
He doesn't. As of right now,
This is horrendous.
20 games played, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points.
Can I say one thing?
We traded a chance at Carson Lambos for this guy.
I can't believe it. Like, it's still blows my mind to this day.
And then we gave him 5 years.
Yep,
$5 million.
He wanted
That is
more
brutal.
too. Did you see that? He wanted more.
Oh my God, our team's so
Worst player in the league.
He wanted more too. The Flyers wanted to give him more. And I don't know what was sadder, the fact that Ristolainen rejected more or the fact that the Flyers offered him more, which is unbelievable. Anyways, moving on to goalie stats. At least something positive did come out of this. Carter Hart, 19 games played, 8-7-4, a 2.83 goals against average, and a .911 save percentage. He's found his game again, and it's great to see that he actually has really good stats for a god-awful Flyers team. Love it. And then you have Felix Sandstrom there as well, who has not found his game. He is terrible. 8 games played, 1-5-1, a 3.40 goals against average, and a .889 save percentage. Surprising those stats aren't worse. He is so bad. It is not even funny. Just absolutely brutal there so far. But yeah, Flyers, we expected them to be bad. They've actually been better than we thought. I guess that's a good thing. You decide. Anyways, here, moving on to number 25. Who do we got, Jack?
Yeah, we got the Buffalo Sabres. Goals for 3.8 and goals against 3.68.
Yeah, so the Sabres started off the year a lot better, and then they lost 8 straight, which obviously kind of put a hole in their season, and obviously now they're 25th. But, hey, there is still a lot of positives with this team. I'm just going to let Carter go right away because, yeah.
I actually have are the Sabres there? Buffalo's 23.
You might have the updated stats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. All right, just go into player stats. It doesn't really matter if they're updated or not, but we're going off standings.
Okay. Well, then these ones are probably updated because I'm on the NHL.com website. Actually, I can guarantee this is updated because Tage Thompson is absolutely insane.
Yeah, for those who don't know, as of time of this recording, Thompson scored 5 goals.
He had 5 points in one period.
Yeah, he had 5 points in one period against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We didn't include that game in the standings, but if it's updated in player stats, we really don't have a choice. So anyways, Carter, take it away. What do you got?
I'll take it away. Tage Thompson. Who saw this guy breaking out into an absolute superstar?
We saw him play pretty good last year, but I kind of thought when they signed that 7-year deal, I thought it was gonna come back in their face.
Yeah.
But
that deal's looking really good now.
It looks one of the best deals in the league, honestly. He's looked insane.
This guy, he's 6'7" or 6'6".
He's tall as hell too. And he's
200 and something pounds. He is literally the Victor Wembanyama of the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
He can do it all. He can hit people. He can score. He can make insane passes. He does it all. He is ridiculous. By far, probably one of my favorite players to watch right now. He is so fun to watch with the puck. But anyways, he has 34 through 25 games played, 16 goals, 18 assists. He is ridiculous.
That's not updated, by the way. He has more than that now. That's not
updated?
No, that's not updated.
Wow.
He has even more than that. He peaked at 21 goals with that game against Columbus. I saw the stats.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's crazy, right?
That's
unreal.
Okay.
So I have 39 points in 25 games.
Let's go. No, he'd be at 40.
Oh yeah,
because
40.
5 goals,
That's
1
just,
assist.
Yeah, 40.
mind-blowing.
Wow.
Like, unbelievable player.
He's ridiculous. He's unreal. Anyways, the rest of these aren't updated either, I'm going to assume. Rasmus Dahlin, he's turned it around. Before he was like meh, like we haven't seen his offensive game style yet. This year he's showing it. 8
The
goals,
start of the year he
21.
looked great.
Yeah, he looked awesome. 8 goals, 21 assists through 29 games play, or 29 points through 24 games played. He's looked pretty good. Jeff Skinner, he can score the puck now.
Yeah, you love to see it. Like, I mean, like that's
can
one of
score.
the things that makes me really happy about Buffalo.
He could score. Wow. Like this is very entertaining for Buffalo. He's got 27 points through 25 games. Alex Tuck, he's actually found a home in Buffalo to where he grew up, and he is dominated wearing that saber. And then probably one of my favorite players to watch, especially when it comes to watching Team Canada in the World Juniors, Dylan Cousins. Oh my God, this guy is awesome. I love him.
This team's
24
so
points through 25 games played. He's unreal. I love him.
This team is so entertaining. Like, I'm
They are.
And they're so young.
they're so
Yeah.
young too. Like, we're gonna see this for so long. And like, I honestly, like, even though they lost 8 straight, I still think they can turn this around and make the playoffs.
I think so too, Nordic.
Oh,
I think so.
100%.
I still think they can. If Thompson keeps scoring 6 points a game, he'll be the first in the division, no doubt. That obviously that won't happen. But other players of note here: Olofsson, he has 11 goals, 14 points through 25 games
Olofsson.
played. JJ Paterka and Jack Quinn have both the same stat line, 14 points.
Good job, Jack.
Yeah, they have
Thank you.
both the same stats through 20 and 25 games played. You look at goaltenders, you have 3 here, obviously, because there's been some injuries. You have Craig Anderson, who is looking like he's like 25 and not 45. 10 games played, 5-4-0, a 2.87 goals against average, and a .916 save percentage. He's looked great. Eric Comrie there, the solidified backup goalie, 4-7-0, a 3.62 goals against average, and a .887 save percentage. And then you have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen there as well, 2-2-1, a 3.98 goals against average, and a .863 save percentage. The most notable is Craig Anderson. The fact that this guy has a .916 at like what 42, 43 years old is crazy. Like honestly, like he's been amazing so far for Buffalo and definitely has held up the back end, 100%. But yeah, bright future ahead for Buffalo. What do you got, Carter?
So, because I'm the stats guy, I looked at after his updated stats where he would rank in the leaders. After that game, that puts him in 3rd for goals scored, and that puts him in 4th in total points.
Holy
Oh
crap.
my!
I mean,
so
Yeah,
I got him in one of my
That's unreal.
fantasy leagues.
yeah. Like I mean, like we'll get into him a little bit later as well. But like Thompson, Robertson, and Marner, those 3 have been
Oh,
unreal
yeah.
the past couple of weeks. We'll get into that in a little bit here. But anyways, that's all we got for Buffalo. We'll move on to number 24. Jack?
Yeah, number 24, pretty disappointing team, St. Louis Blues. Goals for 3.04, goals against 3.85.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's been an absolute roller coaster for St. Louis. I mean, they won 3 straight to start the year. Then they lost 8 in a row. Then they fought back to get an 11-10 record. And now they've lost 4 straight. Brutal.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, just a brutal year. It's been all around for the St. Louis Blues. And the stats show that. So, Carter, you want to take it away here? There's a lot of interesting stats with St. Louis. Players that have been good, players that have been bad. It's everywhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at their guy, Robert Thomas, he is their leading scorer. He's got 23 points through 25 games. Not really scoring that much, though. He's only got 5 goals on the year, but still, 18 assists. Can't complain about that from a guy like that. Jordan Kyrou, he's got 22 through 25. He's really kind of turned his season around.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Definitely picked it up.
Started off pretty slow, but he's really turned it up now. Pavel Buchnevich, he's a point per game guy. 9 goals, 11 assists through 20 games, so he's 20-20. So that's pretty solid there. Vladimir Tarasenko, he's got 19 points through 24 games. And then also tied with him, we got Braden Shen, who's got 19 through 26.
Yeah.
And then their biggest surprise, Ryan O'Reilly,
Yeah,
only
he's
has
brutal.
13 points.
That's
So
I mean, like he's on the last year of his contract. Excuse me. On the last year of his contract too. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
He's had a bad year, and usually see players like do really good on their contract year, but O'Reilly's been the opposite. He's been bad, and he's also been in trade rumors as well, which I
Yes.
definitely want to talk about in a later episode. But O'Reilly's not looked good, and by the way, minus 17 for O'Reilly. Brutal.
Wow.
For a
Corey
defensive
Krug's minus 22 as
Yeah.
well. Like,
and
Ooh.
Kyrou minus 20. Just
I'm not a big
Ridiculous.
plus minus guy, but like that's pretty bad.
that's very, very bad. And that's not even the worst of it. You look at goalies, Jordan Bennington, 20 games
I
played,
don't know.
9, 11, and 0.
Loser.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
God, I hate
Before you-
Bennington.
Before you guys act up, let me read the stats. 20 games
No.
played, 9, 11, and 0, a 3.42 goals against average, and a .889 save percentage. And Thomas Greiss, 8 games played, a 3.3 and 0, a 3.63 goals against average, and a .906 save percentage. Bennington is a baby. Like, what is he doing? Like, do you see the plays that he's making?
It's every game.
The hits to Jordan Stahl and
It's
Jason.
every single game.
Yep, and mouthing off to the players, it's really affected his game. And then you got guys like Craig Berube coming on here saying he needs to stop it. Just play the puck. It's not necessary. Like, oh my God. Like he's literally blowing the season for St. Louis. Like, I'm gonna be dead honest. He's blowing the season for them. Honestly.
Yeah.
You see that, Carter? I just saw that. I just saw that too.
Dude, no, I don't know what I just saw, but my entire thing just glitched and I had spoke and said something, and then both of you were frozen. So I'm like,
Oh, well, it's the Wi-Fi tonight, late night Wi-Fi. But yeah, St. Louis been an absolute roller coaster. I don't really expect it to go in the right direction though, especially if Bennington keeps playing the way he's playing. I'm gonna be honest. But anyways, here moving on to number 23. Jack, who is it?
We got Vancouver. Goals for 3.5, goals against 3.85.
Yeah, Vancouver. I mean, like they had a brutal start to the year. They were like what 0-7 or something like that. Then they finally won a game. I would say that being at number 23 is actually a fairly solid turnaround. They're actually 7-3-0 in their last 10, so a pretty solid turnaround for Vancouver. And actually, nobody's really talking about it right now because obviously the stats and like obviously all the rumors are focused on Brock Besser right now. But some of the players have turned it around, and there are some players on this team that have been absolutely dynamic. So I'm going to give it to Carter. Take it away.
oh yes, I'm looking at a guy who has come back, Elias Pettersson. I am happy to see him actually performing again. It's great to see.
Yeah,
he's got.
He was
Pardon?
he was not really that good last year.
No, he is not that great. He has 32 through 26. Bo Horvat, a guy who's been in trade rumors, who I know that we'll address in a future episode.
Absolutely, we got a lot of trade rumors to it. We might even make the next episode just trades.
Oh,
Like,
it might fully be just trade rumors.
There's
And
so many
discussing them.
trade rumors right now.
So many. He's got 20 goals and 7 assists.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. That's quite impressive. And then we got JT Miller, who just got signed to that huge extension, was in trade rumors last year. He has 26. He's a point per game guy, 26 or 26. Quinn Hughes, over a point per game guy. He's looked good. Doesn't have a goal yet this year, which kind of sucks. What?
24 assists. That's crazy.
That's a lot of apples.
You think he'd at least have a goal?
Yeah, he's got 24 through 22. And then Kuzmenko, if this was his rookie year, oh my.
He would be the front runner.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure he would, yeah.
He's
He's not
ridiculous right
eligible
now.
for the cover, though.
12 goals, 11 assists. He's got 23 points. And that rounds out their top 5. But then looking at a guy, Brock Besser, who honestly, with the amount of stuff I've heard about him, I thought that he only has like single digit or like 10 points. He has 16 points. I don't know what the whole like issue is. I know
I think it's the goals.
goals.
Yeah, I think the goals have been pretty brutal. And I will say this too. he's been in trade rumors for like years. It isn't just starting up now. It's been
No,
Brock Besser to the Penguins has been a thing for like, oh my God, like 3 or 4 years at this point now. It's been a long time, but yeah, other guys there. We'll look at Ilya Mikheyev too. 8 goals, 15 points through 23 games played. He's obviously been pretty interesting. I also like to give big props to Luke Shen. He has the most hits as a defenseman in NHL history now.
oh, does he? Oh,
Yeah, which I thought was pretty interesting.
one
Definitely,
most penalty minutes on the team. Attaboy, Luke.
of course. Anyways, looking at goaltenders, Tyler Myers, 4 points. Defenseman of the year. You look at goalies here. You have Spencer Martin to start it off. 7-2-1, a 3.37 goals against average, and a .892 save percentage. Oh, my stats just crashed. What the heck? Technical difficulties. All of a sudden, my stats just like refreshed. That was really strange. It doesn't slow down. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Here we go. All right. Anyways, Colin Delia, he played 1 game so far this season, has a 2.77 goals against average and a .882 save percentage. And then Thatcher Demko, 15 games played, 3 wins, 10 losses, and 2 overtimes for a 3.93 goals against average and a .883 save percentage. I'm going to ask the question, is it Demko's fault or is it?
I don't know. I think partly maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's
This-
pretty accurate.
This team is so confusing. I don't honestly, I don't even know anymore.
They really are. I'm going to be honest with you. They have been brutally confusing. I mean, hey, they turned it around a little bit, but yeah. Anyways, we'll be right back to move on to number 22, if I'm correct.
All right. So what number is it again, Nordic? Sorry.
Number 22.
Number 22, we got Nashville. Goals for 2.61 and goals against 2.78.
Yeah, Nashville's one of those teams that's like, easily to forget about. We're kind of getting to that middle stage here where we're at teams that are like, we kind of don't talk about all too often. So obviously, Nashville, I'll be brutally honest, they are kind of one of those teams that is kind of forgotten. They started off the year a little bit iffy, but then they have kind of turned it around a little bit. So that's obviously good for Nashville. But as for player stats, it's kind of uneventful. Carter, take it away.
Yeah, pretty uneventful for this team here. But their leading scorer, Philip Forsberg, kind of expected to be their leading scorer. He's got 22 through 23. Matt Duchene, I love Duchene. I don't know why. I just love Duchene. He was so good in like that Columbus run kind of thing. I love him. He's got 21 through 23. Roman Josi kind of started the year a little bit slow, I'd say. He started to pick it back up though. He's got 20 through 23. Mikael Granlund, he's got 18 through 23. And then Ryan Johansson, he has 14 through 23.
Yep. I mean, there's really no eye-opening players here. Nino Niederreiter started off the year all right. He's got 11 points in 23 games now, 9 goals. Kind of cooled off a little bit, but I mean, I'll be honest, this team's kind of been pretty uneventful, kind of boring. They definitely have turned it around a little bit, but it still has been kind of a boring season for Nashville so far. You look at stats, Kevin Lankinen, 7 games played, 3-3-0, a 2.27 goals against average, and a .934 save percentage. A Chicago goalie that definitely rejuvenated himself in Nashville. Jose Saros, obviously their main goalie, but he's not the front runner for goals against. Probably should have started with him, but whatever. 17 games played, 9-6-2, a 2.92 goals against average, and a .909 save percentage. So, I mean, hey, Saros not putting up great stats like he did last year, but obviously it's still relatively early in the year. I have a feeling that he is going to put up unbelievable stats come the next time we do one of these. So yeah, that's the Nashville Predators. Anyways, we're going to move on to number 21.
All right. Our next team is the Calgary Flames. Goals for 2.96, goals allowed 3 on the dot.
Yeah. Definitely a step back from previous years. I'm gonna go off on a limb and say that. I mean, hey, this team lost a lot of players. this past season, obviously. So I mean, like it was going to be worse, but I didn't think it'd be this worse. I mean, there is a lot of struggles right now on this Flames team. So we're going to take a look at player stats. Carter, take it away.
Yeah, like looking at their team here, Nazem Kadri, their big signing, he has not lived up to the expectation of what he was supposed to do.
Not really.
But he's got 19 through 25. One thing I will say is their points are spread pretty evenly throughout this roster.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's kind of a good thing, to be honest. It's really like a team effort. It's not just one player dominating. It's kind of like a whole
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be a good thing or a bad thing. I think in this case it's kind of both. But
yeah. I'd say so. Anyways, I don't know why I yawned. Yeah, as I said, Nazem Kadri, he's got 19 through 25. Lindholm, he also has 19 through 25. Tyler Toffoli, he has 18 through 25. Rasmus Anderson, their leading defensive scorer, he has 17 through 25. And then their big trade acquisition, Jonathan Huberdeau, he has 15 through 22. He's kind of picked up his game a little bit recently, I will say, but
yeah, he really has. Huberdeau, definitely a player that struggled at the start of the year and kind of is starting to pick it up, but Huberdeau's definitely looked concerning. I mean, really, what is there to say? Some other players that have been bad, really. Mangiapane, 11 points through 25 games. Not the Mangiapane we usually know and love and see. So that's kind of unfortunate. Look at goalies. Dan Vladar leading the way in goals against average, but 9 games played, 4-4-1, a 2.54 goals against, and a .914 save percentage. Obviously, Vladar has been pretty. He's been okay. He's actually gotten a lot of starts lately than Markstrom. Markstrom, 17 games played, 8-6-2, a 2.97 goals against average, and a .889 save percentage. Yeah, I mean, like Calgary definitely did take a step back. It's been kind of brutal so far for them, but I mean, we'll see if they can turn it around. Anyways, now moving on to number 20. It's surprising they're this low. Who we got, Jack?
Yeah, we got the Stanley Cup champs, Colorado Avalanche. Goals for 3.3, goals allowed or goals against 2.87.
That is surprisingly. I mean, like they're not bad.
They have so many injuries. Oh my god.
Yeah, they are definitely depleted.
They are banged up.
Yeah,
right
McKinnon is one of the most notable players. He got hurt last night or the other night against the Flyers. So he's going to be out for a little bit.
It's ridiculous how many injuries there are. I don't after I'm done reading off the stats, I'll find the injuries, but it's ridiculous how many guys they got.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. I'll pull them up right now as you read the stats. But
their star, Nathan McKinnon, he has 34 points through 23 games played. Kind of expected. He's the highest paid player in the NHL.
Yeah, of course.
And he's showing it, and he's probably one of the top players in the NHL for sure. Mikko Rantanen, he has 32 through 23, pretty much McDavid's side. Right-hand man. He's pretty good. You see the injuries too.
Yep,
it's actually
it's
ridiculous. Oh my god. Cale Makar, he's got 24 through 23. Lehkonen, he has looked pretty solid so far. He has 18 through 22. And Devon Taves, probably one of the more underrated defensemen in the NHL. He has 15 through 21. And Nordic, please read off their injured list because this is awful.
Oh my god, this is like holy crap. On IR, Valerie Nichushkin, Josh Manson, Curtis McDermott, Bowen Byram, Shane Bowers. On LTIR, you have Gabriel Landeskog and Darren Helm, and then you throw in Nathan McKinnon as well. Holy crap.
8 players! And all of them are like their star players.
Yeah, that's like your entire top 6. Like Landeskog, Nichushkin, and McKinnon. It's like
rough.
And Nichushkin was ridiculous to start off the year.
I don't want to blame it on injuries, but
7 games.
We might have to blame it on injuries here, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, you look at other teams, like, they are so unbelievably depleted. And it's honestly because of the Stanley Cup. Like, I mean, Helm hasn't played this season. Neither has Landeskog. I don't think Byram actually has Byram. I don't think Byram.
Yeah,
has.
he played 10. He played 10.
Oh, so he's hurt. I don't think Manson has. He might. I don't even know. I'm just going to guess the LCRR players are ones who haven't played this season. But yeah, like you look at the blue line too, like Byram and Manson, two key players in last year's Cup run, not in the lineup. I mean, like they actually have better stats than you think for a team that's so depleted, and that just goes to show how good of a hockey team this is. But yeah, that is brutal, honestly. You look at goalie stats, Alex Georgiev, he's played 16 games, 11, 4, and 1, a 2.68 goals against average, and a .920 save percentage. In net, in backup, you have Pavel Francouz, a 7 games played, 2-5-0 record, a 3.03 goals against average, and a .907 save percentage. Oh, man, that is bad. Like, the goalie stats aren't bad, but man, like this team is so unbelievably depleted. And like, I mean, like that's why they're 20th. And like they're not even that bad, really. I mean, like they still have pretty positive stats, comparatively speaking. But yeah, that loss to the Flyers definitely solidified that it's going to be a lot harder to replicate that Cup run with people hurt like they
Oh
do.
yeah, for sure.
We'll start getting guys back hopefully soon. Not hopefully soon. They definitely will get some guys back soon. But again, it's probably not too much damage for them to not come back from this. They definitely will come back from this and probably be in a playoff spot and go on a nice deep run. I'd assume if they get all their guys back. So
I doubt they can make a comeback to first. That would be unreal. But I think that they could probably make it to playoffs.
they'll be playoffs for sure.
We can't predict the future, though. They could get even more guys hurt, and this team could just be nobody.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say that. Sorry, Avalanche fans. Anyways, here we'll move on into the teenager digits. Moving on to number 19. Jack, who do we got?
Yeah, number 19, we got the Capitals. Goals for 2.74, goals against 3.07.
Yeah, I mean the Capitals. What? What, Carter?
I just coughed. Sorry.
I said something.
No,
I'm looking at the standings right now, so I can't tell what you did. Anyways, the Capitals. They're another one of those teams that has a lot of injuries, but like they're actually playing relatively well. I mean, like they're a whole 500 team right now. I'm actually shocked about that. I figured they'd be a lot worse, considering the fact that Backstrom's not playing and Wilson is also hurt. So definitely brutal so far for the Capitals, but some players have definitely risen up to the plate. Carter, what do the player stats look like?
Well, leading point scorer, Alexander Ovechkin. He has 27 points through 28 games played. I don't think that includes this previous game, but after his previous game, I guess kind of nice little announcement. He is now 99 goals away from number 99 in the all-time goal list. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool there.
That's
and then looking at their second leading scorer, who honestly, it's mind-blowing that he is here. Dylan Strome. He's here. He's back. He's looking good again.
Another one of my favorite players there.
I love Dylan Strome. I was a big Dylan Strome guy. He's got 22 points through 28 games played. Kuznetsov, he's got 20 through 27. Only 3 goals, though, which is kind of surprising for Kuznetsov.
Yeah, that is pretty challenging.
Yeah, John Carlson, he has 16 through 22. And then Connor Sheary, he has 15 through 28.
Yeah, Dylan Strome, really surprising. I mean, like, yeah, like honestly, like I mean, like it honestly really is only because Wilson and Backstrom are out. He wouldn't have the numbers he has right now if it weren't for that. If Backstrom, if they had a fully healthy roster, Strome would probably have like 10 points. I'm going to be honest with you, but really,
this is. Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Sorry.
This is just proving that he can play these minutes and get these points.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's always been able to.
Yeah.
I think he has a much better team around him too, and I think that's definitely boosted his stats and helped him out. In net, you have Darcy Kemper, who I think is day to day. 20 games played, 8, 9, and 2, a 2.56 goals against average, and a .916 save percentage. One of my favorite goalies. Good to see he has solid stats in Washington. Charlie Lindgren there, the backup. He has played 10 games, a 4-3-0 record, a 3.07 goals against average, and a .902 save percentage. So obviously they're Washington dealing with a lot of injuries, but still being able to stay afloat despite the struggles. So now we move on to number 18, and we have another surprising team. Take it away, Jack.
Yeah. Surprisingly good team. Montreal Canadiens actually. Goals for 2.96 and goals against 3.54.
Yeah, I mean, like they were 32nd last year, and going from 32nd to 18 right now is
Exactly.
pretty good. I know they were in a playoff spot. I'm not sure if they are now. They might be.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, but they're pretty much right there. And I know Carter's already hyped up to talk about some player stats with this team because he's got his boy. He's super stoked. Take it away.
Oh man, I watched this. I was bored last night, so I was like looking for hockey games. I watched them versus Seattle, and like the first play was like the interception by Suzuki, and then it was like a 2-on-1. I'm like, oh, he's passing this to Caulfield, and this is a goal. Scores. You can call me LeBron for saying it's cap. It wasn't. I was like, this is in the back of the net.
Yes.
Oh, actually, speaking of LeBron and cap, apparently Wayne Gretzky said at the start, or he said, I just know Tage Thompson's going to score 5 goals, maybe even 6. So him and LeBron, do they share something?
It might.
Yeah, one's the GOAT, one's not.
True.
I completely agree, Jack.
I hope you mean Gretzky.
Gretzky's a GOAT.
Yeah, of course.
Good.
No.
Okay. Anyways, keep it going. Keep it going.
All right, Nick Suzuki. He's got 29 points through 26 games. He's unreal. He's such a good player. He's so fun to watch. Great playmaker, and he's got that shooting upside. He is awesome to watch. Cole Caulfield. This guy might actually score 50 this year.
He might.
He has a chance to. My prediction it's looking good. I'm like,
Not looking bad.
I'm really hoping he does because honestly, he's probably one of my favorite players to watch outside of like Trevor Zegras and a couple of
You
other
love
guys.
those Americans, don't you?
I do.
Those young Americans.
That freaking World Juniors team.
Yeah,
oh
that core.
God,
oh man,
so good. Oh my God, Cole Caulfield, Boldy, Zegras, like jeez, y'all were stacked. And I'm pretty sure you had Spencer Knight between the pipes.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the NHL. And then we're looking at a guy who has come back. He has come back from the depths of Chicago and has made it back to stardom. Kirby Dach!
No.
This guy, 19 points through 26 games, never got a fair shot in Chicago, and look what he's doing! You gave up on him too early, Jack.
He's a bust. I don't care. He's a bust.
He's not a bust.
Well, in Chicago, he's a bust. In Chicago, he is.
Oh my God!
I know our audio listeners can't see this right now, but Jack, I wanted you to take a look at this photo.
I know. I know.
Anyways.
Oh my God.
Okay, Carter. Okay.
All right, continue.
All right, another guy who seems to have found a home in Montreal, Sean Monahan.
Yeah.
Where did he come back from? He has looked honestly pretty good. He's got 17 points through 25 games played. And then their last guy, Christian Dvorak, he's got 11 through 26. So he's looked decent, I guess.
Jack, how do you feel about Kirby Dach and Dylan Strome and Kevin Lankin and all these former Blackhawks players playing well on other teams?
I don't know. I think it was the coaching last year because if they were all on the team this year, I think they'd be thriving under Luke Richardson, to be honest with you, if they kept the team together. But obviously that wasn't going to happen. So
sorry. I laughed, deserving laugh, but still I laughed. So
I know. It's understandable.
Yeah, Kirby Dach's your father.
Whatever.
Okay. I'll look at some other players. First round pick, Juraj Slavkovsky, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points through 21 games played. I mean, first overall picks have a history of not playing well to start the year, so I will say that. Look at their goaltending. Sam Montembeault, 9 games played, 5-2-2, a 2.97 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. And then you have Jake Allen, who has played 17 games, an 8-9-0 record, a 3.42 goals against average, and a .895 save percentage. I also want to say this. I've been looking at this as I've been reading off goalie stats. Why do they include ties? Why is the tie like a stat in NHL.com? Why?
Tie?
Yeah, like it just says tie, like T. Like
Oh, like after regulation?
like it says like it'll be like win, loss, and then tie, and then OT.
Oh, that's weird.
They haven't used tie in like what 20 years.
I know. Is it just zero and everything or what?
Yeah, it's just zero in every column. I still don't know why they include it. It's so annoying. But yeah, obviously Montreal much better than we thought they were going to be 100%. Definitely a way better team overall. And I mean, hey, playoffs are still definitely an option for them 100%. But anyways, here moving on to number 17. Who do we got, Jack?
Yeah, we got the Florida Panthers. Goals for 3.42. Goals against sorry. Goals against 3.35. All right, Carter. All right.
What?
For those who
I
can't
see that
right
background.
now,
I see that
What?
background.
for those who can't see right now, Carter has made a Zoom background, Kirby Doc, with the holding up his ear to the Chicago fans, which I
No
thought
comment.
is very funny.
Thank
But
you,
yeah,
thank you.
Florida, one of those teams that like they had an amazing year last year. They lost a lot of pieces, and now I mean it's kind of looked iffy. I mean, overall, I'd say they did win that big blockbuster deal in the summer, but still, it's been pretty brutal. So, Cardi, you want to take it away here with player stats?
Yeah, before I get into player stats, I'd just like to say the reason it's been so brutal is because of Paul Maurice. This guy cannot coach. I was very blind when he was the Winnipeg Jets head coach. This guy is not very good. He blames his excuse for why the Panthers suck because Barkov is out. You should be able to figure it out when you have a lineup of Matthew Tkachuk, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett. Barkov's out, but still, you get the point. There's so much talent on this roster for you to complain that you don't have Barkov.
Yeah, he's such a bad coach, honestly. I mean, like you look at what Winnipeg's doing right now, he is such a bad coach.
I was so blind to it because he was the Jets coach. He is not a very good coach, but I still love him because he brought us to like the conference finals that one year. But like still, anyways,
It's just 1 year though. So
yeah. Okay, so let's get into some stats now. Matthew Tkachuk, their leading scorer. Wow, he has been absolutely electric. 35 points through 24 games. He is really good. Also, again, just like his brother, leading his team in points.
yeah, Kachucks have taken over the league.
They have.
Oh yeah. And then one thing again, there's a huge like gap in between Tkachuk and Verhaeghe, who is number 2. Verhaeghe has 23 points through 26 games, so a nice 12-point difference in between 1 and 2. Pretty crazy. Sorry. Then we got Brandon Montour. He's got a 22 through 24. Sam Bennett, he's got 21 through 16. And then Barkov, he has 18 through 19 games played.
Yeah, Verhaeghe, 15 goals.
He's underrated.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good.
Another
Another player who has struggled, comparatively speaking, Sam Reinhart. And I got to maybe I'll make another TikTok soon talking about struggling players. But Sam Reinhart, only 15 points through 26 games played. Kind of brutal, comparatively speaking, and it just goes to show how depleted this team is. And I will say this too: they also have Hornquist was placed on LTIR recently, and Duclair's been out since the start of the year. So obviously, it's been kind of brutal. But yeah, looking at goalie stats, you have Spencer Knight, 15 games played, 8-4-3, a 2.64 goals against average, and a .919 save percentage. Then you have Sergei Bobrovsky, 13 games played. 4-6-1, a 3.72 goals against average, and a .880 save percentage. So Bobrovsky having a brutal year there for the Florida Panthers. Been pretty bad so far. But yeah, Florida kind of fell off a cliff, really, and it might be because of Paul Maurice. Carter definitely thinks it's because of Paul Maurice, but there are a lot of injuries on this team too. Ekblad's also out, and Barkov is out too. So I will say that. But anyways, moving on here to the halfway mark at number 16. Feels like we've been recording for forever, but we're finally here. Jack, who's at number 16? Who do we got?
Yeah, number 16, Edmonton Oilers. Goals for 3.42, goals against 3.58.
Yep, Edmonton, another one of those teams at the halfway mark. Kind of surprising that they've been kind of this mediocre. Honestly, it's been Jack Campbell and the goaltending. I think that's been the most brutal part so far. But I mean, hey, player stats are always fun, so I'm going to let Carter take it away here for the 16th time this episode.
Big player stats guy. I'm gonna let you guys take a wild guess on who the top scorer is.
I'm going to say Ryan McLeod.
Jack?
I'm gonna say Jack Campbell.
Well, you guys are both wrong. Jesse Puljujarvi. Wow, he's been elected. No, that'd be crazy if he was. I don't think that ever happened. But Connor McDavid, he has 48 points or 26 games played. Again, he's the best player in the NHL for a reason. Should I pose for your picture, Nordic? I see the phone out.
I'm not taking a picture. What do you mean?
Horrible,
I see the phone.
Carter.
That bright
Horrible.
orange case.
So rude.
Keep it going, Carter. I want to go to bed.
completely agree. All right, and then we got Leon Draisaitl. He's got 42 through 26. They're the 1-2 punch of this team, so it kind of makes sense why they're 1 and 2 there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's got 27 through 26. Kind of probably overshadowed a bunch by this team or by these guys on this roster, but still, he's very good player. Zach Hyman, honestly, I love Hyman. He is a really good player. He has 26 points through 25 games played. And then their defensive leader, Tyson Barrie, he has 15 through 26 games played. And then one thing I do want to mention, Evander Kane, before he got hurt, he had 13 points in 14 games. So hopefully when he comes back, he kind of maintains that same pace.
Obviously came with that injury, hoping he will be okay. That's weird. Why is Edmonton below Cout? Never mind.
Your stats updated. All right, you gotta get with the program.
Okay, all right. Anyways, looking at goalies, you have Stuart Skinner leading the way with 14 games played, a 7.6-0 record, and a 2.93 goals against average, and a .916 save percentage. And then as a backup goalie, you have Jack Campbell, 13 games played, 7.6-0 as well. That's strange. 4.12 goals against average, and a .872 save percentage. Yeah, Campbell's been pretty brutal for Edmonton so far. Some other players who have struggled for Edmonton so far. Kailer Yamamoto, he's hurt, so I will factor that in here. But 3 assists through 14 games played is pretty brutal. Dylan Holloway, 3 points through 22 games played. And then Jesse Puljujarvi as well, 6 points through 26 games played. So Puljujarvi has been absolutely brutal there for Edmonton. But I mean, hey, they're 16. Maybe that deadline acquisition for Patrick Kane could turn this team around. But anyways, let's move on to number 15.
All right. So number 15, we got Minnesota. Goals for 3.13, goals against 3.04.
Yeah, this team started off kind of iffy. I mean, like you had the goal. I know I'm supposed to go into the goalie stats later, but like Fleury was horrible at the beginning of the year. Like they let in like 20 goals in like 3 games. It was outrageous. But they kind of turned it around. Some players, obviously Kaprizov's played pretty good, but I got to leave that to Carter with player stats.
100%. So Kirill Kaprizov, like he was last year, he hasn't missed a beat. He's got 33 points through 25. Matt Zuccarello, dominant last year. He looked unreal. He's a point per game guy this year. He's got 25 through 25. Joel Erikssonek, another guy who's pretty solid for this team. He's got 22 through 25. Matt Boldy, I like this guy. He is a very good player. I like how he plays. He's got 18 points through 25. And then I don't know this guy's first name. I'm going to click. Oh, Kalen Addison. He's not a rookie, I don't think. He is a young guy, 22 years old. He has 14 through 25.
Addison is a rookie.
He is okay.
Is he a defenseman?
Yeah.
He is.
So pretty good numbers for a defenseman.
Yeah, he actually
Especially a rookie defenseman.
I mean, this team, another problem that they've lacked last year as well is definitely a lack of scoring. They've kind of been relying on Kaprizov, and I mean, it kind of goes to show. Apart from Kaprizov, nobody on the team has more than 10 goals, so that is kind of concerning.
Boldy's close.
I
And
mean,
so
yeah,
is Eriksson Ek.
Eriksson Ek and Boley have 9, but still, it still is kind of concerning. I think they definitely need to improve on some scoring, get some scoring players before we can say this team's legit there. As for goalie stats, you have Marc-Andre Fleury, who has really not been that good this year. 9-6-1, a 3.10 goals against average, and a .892 save percentage. Then you have Philip Gustafsson, who has a 4-4-1 record, a 2.75 goals against average, and a .909 save percentage. So, I mean, Fleury looked bad at the beginning. He's gotten a little bit better, but still kind of iffy stats there. And then Gustafsson looked okay in some of the games he's played. Overall, I'd say this team's obviously pretty mediocre, but they still have a ways to go before they're a legit cup team. I think they definitely took a step back, actually. Anyways, here we'll move on to number 14, if I'm correct.
Yeah, number 14, we have one of the more interesting teams, the New York Rangers. Goals for 3.04, goals against 2.93.
Kind of surprising how the Rangers have low-key struggled during this stretch. I'm going to ask you guys this question because we actually haven't talked about the Rangers. We were going to, if let's say this wasn't episode 10, we would talk about the Rangers. But what do you guys think is the issue? Because they've been struggling this year. Do you think it's Gallant or do you think it's somebody else? Whoever wants to chip in.
I think it probably is Gallant. We've seen it with a couple other teams. I'd compare them to the Senators. Good roster, just coaching holding them back pretty much. But we've seen Gallant be a good coach in the past. So I'm having a tough time putting the blame on him, but I think I am as of now.
He would. One thing that I saw was like he would change up the line combinations like crazy. Like he changed up like 20 times in like 4 games. It was crazy how many different line combinations this guy was trying. And it was difficult for the Rangers to kind of get chemistry. I mean, they're still a solid team. They still have solid stats, but lately it's definitely been pretty rough for them. So, however, obviously with a dynamic roster like this team, they do have some pretty good player stats. So I'm going to let Carter take it away.
Yeah, 100%. So kind of before I get into player stats, kind of piggyback off of your question, I don't know. Their issue probably has to be coaching because they're scoring, but I don't know what it is. It's just not enough. It just doesn't seem to be enough right now. And I know you'll go into goalie stats, but Shesterkin, he's been good. Maybe it's Halak who's been their issue, but I'm not 100% sure. But going into player stats before I get off track here, Panarin, he's got 33 through 28. Of course, he was their big free agent signing a couple years back, so he's obviously leading the way with this Rangers team. Zibanejad, he's got 32 through 28. Their leading goal scorer, he's got 15 through those games. Adam Fox, again, probably one of the best defensemen in the NHL. He's got 30 through 28. Chris Kreider, coming off of his insane year last year, he's got 23 through 28. And then Vincent Trocheck, he's got 18 through 28. And one player I'd like to actually bring up, Alexis Lafreniere, he's got 13 through 28. I want to ask you guys this question. Is it too late to call Alexis Lafreniere not necessarily a bust, but is there any higher that he can really go?
He shouldn't have gone first. I mean, looking back at it, obviously with his QMJHL team, he was great, but fast forwarding ahead now, he shouldn't have gone first.
Here's the thing. If it was him, it was going to either be him or Byfield.
That is true. I think he has a shot at getting better, but I don't think he's going to live up to that first overall potential. And the weird thing is, when you look at the first overall picks for the past couple of years, it's kind of starting to become a pattern in that way, where they've kind of been overrated or they struggled out of the gate is definitely a trend there. I think Lafreniere can definitely take a step up. I just think he maybe needs the right ice time. Gallant could be the problem with that, but I don't know. I think Lafreniere definitely needs to get better. I think Capo Caco is the one we should be talking about. That is a bust.
That guy is
9 points in 28 games is brutal. Looking at goalie stats, I don't think goaltending is the problem in New York. Shesterkin, 20 games played, 12-4-4, a 2.58 goals against average, and a .913 save percentage. Then you have Yaroslav Halak, who, has been bad, but he hasn't been awful. 1-6-1, a 3.04 goals against average, and a .888 save percentage. That's not as bad as some of the other goalies in the league. but it's still, I mean, like the backup stats usually aren't better than the starters, so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, like the goaltending isn't the problem. I don't think it'd be the blue line, and they're scoring. So I mean, I honestly, it's got to be Gerard Gallant, or maybe I've seen some people put the blame on Jacob Trouba. I'm not sure
Oh,
if
yeah.
that's justified though.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I mean,
He's not meant to be a big time point scorer. He's meant to be that guy that can throw his body around on the blue line, and maybe the odd time he'll get a couple points.
yeah, Trouba has 8 assists through 28 games, so obviously he's not scoring crazy points like Captain Connor McDavid. But I mean, like in that game against Chicago and in some other games too, you can see he's trying to get the team hyped up and motivate the team. He's trying to get there, but it's just been a struggle so far for New York. But anyways, here moving on to number 13. I've already lost track.
Yeah, number 13. We got Detroit. Goals for 3.2, goals against 3.04.
Yeah, the Red Wings are one of those teams that took a huge step up this season, and well deserved, because I mean, you look at this core as a whole, they definitely should be one of those teams that takes a step higher. They've looked pretty solid so far. There's been a couple games where it's been like, but they've looked really good so far. So there's a lot of interesting player stats, so I'm gonna let Carter take it away here.
Yeah. Dylan Larkin, he's over a point per game guy. Obviously, they're pretty much their star player. Dylan Larkin, he's got 26 through 25. Kubalik, one of those guys from Jack's team. I don't know if he wants to talk about Kubalik at all, but
Yeah, I always liked him.
yeah, Kubalik was a great player. He's a point per game guy with this Detroit team, so that's actually huge to see as well. Hronik, he's got 24 through 25. And then a guy that I kept thinking was on defense, David Perron, he's got 20 through 25. And then Andrew Kopp, former Winnipeg Jet, finally showing something that he's more than a third line guy than he was with Winnipeg. He definitely showed it with the Rangers. He's got 16 through 25, and Lucas Raymond, he's the sixth guy on this team, but he's like 1 point behind Andrew Kopp there with 15.
Yeah, another guy that I want to talk about, Moritz Seider. He's kind of struggled, quietly struggling. 11 points in 25 games played. That I know he's a defenseman, and people are probably screaming at me right now, but I mean, like sophomore slumps do happen, but he is kind of struggling through his second year in the league. When you look at goaltending, it's definitely been way better than last year, and Ville Husso is the prime example of that. 11, 4, and 3, a 2.54 goals against average. Excuse me, at a .916 save percentage. Then you have Alex Nedeljkovic there as well, who has a 2-3-2 record, a 3.97 goals against average, and a .880 save percentage. So definitely way better goalie stats than last year. I think that's really the reason why this team has been so much better. But yeah, I still think Detroit may have a little ways to go before I can say, yeah, this team is that. There's some players that have definitely struggled. Joe Veleno, 6 points in 24 games. P.S. Sutter, 8 points in 24 games. So it's been a little bit of a struggle for some of these players, but Detroit definitely did take that big step up, and I'm definitely happy about it. So anyways, moving on to number 12. Who do we got?
Yeah, number 12, we actually had Tampa. Goals for 3.44, goals against 3.12.
Yeah, the Lightning, obviously, they made the Stanley Cup Finals. They did lose some big acquisitions, so it is pretty obvious that they were kind of going to take that step back. But still, this team still is dynamic, and just because they're not in the top 10 in the league, that doesn't mean you should overlook them as one of the better teams in the league. They're still 7-3-0 in their last 10. They're still a pretty solid hockey team. So obviously, one of the biggest players is actually playing his first full season since 2018-19. I'm going to leave it to Carter to talk about him.
Nikita Kucherov, the double champ. He has 37 points through 25 games. I'm really hoping this guy stays healthy throughout the entire year, because he is so fun to watch. I say this with like almost every of like the team's like top player, but Kucherov, he's something else. As I said, 37 through 25. Steven Stamkos, he's back. He's back, so that's awesome to see. He's got 30 through 25. Their leading goal scorer as well with 14 tucks. Braden Point, again, they have like their starters back now, so this is like huge for Tampa. We're finally seeing Tampa at almost true potential.
Yeah, 100%. And like, they've dealt with so many injuries since that 2020 Stanley Cup run, but I mean like this team is still playing pretty well. Victor Hedman there kind of struggling as well. 11 points in 23 games. Not something we usually see out of the defender this late in the season or this early in the season. He's usually playing so well. It's December. It's not even late.
A guy that's kind of stepped up in him, like not scoring points, is Mikhail Sergachev. Like this guy's got 23 through 25. He's kind of taken that
Yeah,
spot, I think.
definitely. Sergachev's played pretty good. You look at goaltenders, you have Andrei Vasilevsky, 19 games played, a 10-8-1 record, a 2.75 goals against average, and a .909 save percentage. Kind of underwhelming, actually. You'd think that Vasilevsky's stats would be better, but they're kind of underwhelming. They're still good, but they're not as good as Vasilevsky level. You have Brian Elliott there as the backup. He's 5-1-0, a 3.62 goals against average and a .886 save percentage. So obviously this team, they kind of took a step back. I mean, they have a ton of it. They still have a lot of injuries. Sorelli's out as well. Zach Bogosian's out as well, which has hurt that blue line. It's given the opportunity for guys like Nick Perbix to come up into the lineup and have 6 points in 19 games. So obviously they're kind of experimenting with some other players, but obviously this team still has a lot of work to do before they're back to that Stanley Cup level. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they make the Cup Finals this year. There's too many other good teams in the league for them to be one of those good teams again. Anyways,
there's too many in that Eastern Conference to comfortably say they're top dog in that area. There's too many teams that have like playoff experience in that conference, but
right. So. Anyways, now moving on to number 11. Who do we got, Jack?
Yeah, number 11, we got the LA Kings. Goals for 3.43, goals against 3.54.
Yeah, once again, another good season from the Los Angeles Kings. Obviously, they've been building this team up for a long time, and they're also kind of one of the more underrated and they're kind of overlooked. When you look at this team, I mean, they were looked at as one of the famous teams back in the day, like almost 10 years ago now. But now they kind of have a whole new identity, although they still have some of the old players on the team. There are some new faces, and I got to give it to Carter to talk about them.
There's new faces? Yeah, 100%. Okay. All right. So looking at their leading scorers, they got Kevin Fiala, their leading scorer. He's got 30 through 28. Anze Kopitar, he's got 24 through 7. 24 through 28. 24 through 7. That's a ridiculous stat line, but their next guy up, Victor Arvidsson, he's got 21 through 26. Velarde, he's got 19 through 27. One of their new acquisitions, actually, Philip Deneau, actually makes their top 5 points. He's got 19 through 28 as well. Yeah, that rounds out their top 5.
Yeah, obviously some really solid players there. Arvidsson's looked really good. It's a really solid team in LA. Sean Durzi, another notable player there, 18 points in 25 games as a defenseman. He's looked really good. Looking through the list here, Mikey Anderson, 6 points in 28 games. No other really like eye-opening players. They still have a really solid team, but it's kind of been Kevin Fiala just popping off. You look at goaltenders, they actually sent Cal Peterson down to the AHL. He actually wasn't claimed. I thought he would be, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
So that leaves Jonathan Quick. 19 games played, 8-7-2, a 3.33 goals against average, and a .888 save percentage. Phoenix Copley has played 1 game, and it was a win. 2 goals against average, and a .939 save percentage. Cal Peterson, on the other hand, has struggled the past couple of years. It hasn't taken that step up yet, really. Is it time to cut ties with him potentially? Because he was looked at to be one of those good tandem goalies, but really he hasn't been that so far. So
I don't know if you really can with goalies. I think goalies are one of those things where like sometimes you got to wait on them to develop. Mm-hmm. And that's like one thing. Like I know this is going to sound so biased because I'm a Jets fan or whatever, but if you look at Hellebuck, he wasn't good till like a couple years down the line. Like he was bad for a couple seasons there, and then he developed like crazy. So goalies are one thing I think that you have to kind of take your time and develop them.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of work to be done in LA before they're a legitimate team. Now we can finally move on to the top 10. Who is at number 10?
Don't we have 11?
I thought we just did 11.
No, this is top 10.
Okay, I'm out of
I think
it.
I think it's top 10. Should be. Yeah. Anyways, we got Islanders. Goals for 3.19. Goals against 2.7.
They're back. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
like,
are.
what else is there to say? Really, they have returned. Last year was a really horrible start to the season. A lot of COVID, a lot of away games, not being good at home either. But really, that's kind of changed when you look at this Islanders team. You know, having Lane Lambert. Is it Lane Lambert? Is that the? I always get them mixed up. Is it Brad Lambert or Lane Lambert?
No, Brad Lambert's on the
Brad,
Jets.
yeah, Brad. Yeah, I was gonna say.
One time I said
That's my guy. That's
Yeah.
ours.
One time I said in a TikTok that Brad Lambert was the coach of the Islanders. I got him mixed up, so yeah, that was fun. But anyways, when you look at the Islanders, obviously Lambert definitely helped them kind of bring a more offensive game to the team, and it's definitely taken a big impact on them and made them a much better team as a whole. And Carter, there's a lot of offensive stats here, so
Yeah. Leading scorer, Matthew Barzal. Not much to say. He is such a good player. He's really good with the Islanders.
Good at
Their
passing.
what?
Good at passing.
He is very good at passing. He's not very good at scoring, but he's like very good when it comes to passing the puck. So if he ever passes the puck, just expect a puck spot to probably go in your net if he sends a nice little dish there. But he's got 28 through 27 over a point per game guy. Brock Nelson, he's got 26 through 27, just under that point per game mark, but he is also their leading goal scorer. So probably a lot of Barzal's assists went to goals from Nelson.
Yeah.
Anders Lee, their captain, he's got 20 through 27. Noah Dobson, who honestly I think is one of the more underrated defensemen. I probably already said that on another defenseman already, but I actually really like Noah Dobson. He's a great player. He's got 18 through 27, also outscoring Matthew Barzal. Crazy. John Gabriel Pajot finishes out their top 5 scorers. He's got 15 through 27.
Yeah, I was at the game where they played the Flyers, where they lost to the Flyers, and the Flyers broke their 10-game losing streak towards the end of November. And Dobson actually scored the only goal that the Islanders had. He's a good player. He was getting a lot of chances on net. He's really solid. He's good offensively. He's a little iffy defensively, kind of, but he's still a really solid defenseman overall.
He's a good player.
You look at goaltending stats here. You have Ilya Sorokin, 19 games played, a 10-8-0 record, a 2.33 goals against average, and a .927 save percentage. Obviously, Sorokin playing at a great level. Honestly, could be a Vezina contender come the end of the season, especially with guys like Vasilevsky kind of struggling. Well, they're not struggling, but they're kind of having worse stats than usual. Semyon Varlamov as the backup. I don't know what happened there. 9 games played, 6-3-0, a 2.52 goals against average, and a .922 save percentage. Obviously, Varlamov playing good as the backup. But yeah, the Islanders definitely playing really good. Hopefully it'll keep going. Anyways, moving on to number 9. Who do we got?
Yeah, we got Pittsburgh Penguins, a team that has really turned it on. Goals for 3.54 and goals against 3.04.
Yeah, you look at that 8-game losing streak, and I actually was one of the people that said this could be the end of the Penguins' dominance and a dominant run, and this could be it. But no, once again, they prove us wrong. Sidney Crosby keeps on staying relevant. And I mean, this team as a whole is still a really good team together, and they've kind of turned it around from an 8-game losing streak to being top 10 in the league, which I think is very impressive. And actually, they only have 8 losses in regulation. I know not all of those are from the 8-game losing streak, but that is still pretty significant. Anyways, Carter, what are the player stats?
Looking at the player stats, as you said, Sidney Crosby, relevant again. He was never irrelevant, but he's still just as dominant as he always was. He's got 35 through 26, also their leading goal scorer with 15 goals on the year. Jake Gensel, again, he's good. I don't know what else there is to say. He's good. He's got 26 through 22. Evgeny Malkin, he's got 25 through 26. Not scoring as much as I feel like he probably should, but he's still playing extremely well. Jason Zucker, he's got 18 through 24, and then Ricard Raquel with 16 and 26, and then Brian Rust also with 16 and 26.
Yeah, obviously still a really solid team. Malkin definitely coming back from, injuries last year and really playing really good and red hot. You look at goaltender stats here. You have Tristan Jarry, 11, 3 and 3, a 2.75 goals against average and a .919 save percentage. And then you have Casey DeSmith as the backup goalie, 9 games played, a 3-5-1 record, a 3.0 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. So obviously they're a really good team. Jarry putting up good stats, definitely turned it around, and maybe this could be the year the Penguins kind of make that push, but I think they maybe need to make some deadline acquisitions before we can say, yeah, they're really that team. But anyways, here moving on to number 8, if I'm correct.
Number 8. We got the Dallas Stars. Looking like a very good team this year. Goals for 3.73, goals against 2.85.
What did I say?
Yeah, I know. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, credit to you, Nordic.
Second in the division, and guess who they're behind?
Winnipeg. Yep.
I thought Carter was going to say something, but I guess not.
I'll just let the silence and happiness in my face speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just so nice to have the best team out of everyone on the podcast.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's just
all right now. But like Winnipeg, Dallas is very entertaining to watch. You have so many dynamic players on this team. They are so fun to watch. And I said it. I said this team would be really dynamic and really fun to watch. I said their offense was amazing. Their defense had some things to work on, and their goaltending was going to pop off this year. And that's happened. So I'm going to give Carter player stats, and he can just keep on proving that I am right.
You're the best, Nord. You're the best. We all know this. All right. Jason Robertson, he has, of course, to almost no one's surprise, he's done well, not to no one's surprise. I feel like he wasn't expected to do as good as he's doing. He was expected to be a very good player, but I don't think people expected him to be like how he is right now. He's got 41 points through 26 games. I think he's leading in goals. I think him and McDavid are tied as of the moment of right now.
Yeah.
But he's got 23 goals on the year. Again, he's ridiculous. He's so insane. He's so fun to watch. I'm gonna try and pronounce this right. Rupi Hintz, or is it Rope Hintz? I think it's Rupi.
Rupe Hintz.
Yeah,
Rupe
Rupe
Hintz. It's Hintz? Oh,
yeah.
I've been saying it wrong my entire life.
Hintz.
He is literally another young player that is just unreal. He's got 30 through 25. Joe Pavelski, he's the tip man, but he's got 28 points through 26 games. And then honestly, someone who I quite honestly did not expect to see in the top 4, Jamie Benn. He's a point per game guy.
Yeah,
Quietly.
he really has turned
Very
back.
quiet point scorer.
Yeah.
He's been like very good for Dallas. He's kind of declined a little bit, but he's still
He definitely has, but still there.
Yeah. Still a very good player. And then finishing out their top 5 with who other than Tyler Seguin. He only has 4 goals on the year, so he's not scoring as much as Seguin probably should be, but he's still
It's still
Still
I
very
mean,
good.
it's still kind of an improvement. Last year was a bad year for him too, so it's not that bad. Looking at the stats here, Ty Dellandrea, I'm looking at Mason Marchman. 4 goals, 9 assists, looking pretty impressive there so far for Dallas. You look at it in net, you have Jake Ottinger, who is one of the most underrated and best goalies in the league. 18 games played, 9, 3 and 3, a 2.54 goals against average, and a .916 save percentage. And as your backup, you have Scott Wedgwood, who in 11 games played has a 5-4-2 record, a 3.04 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. So obviously Dallas, another one of those really good teams, and the goaltending's definitely helped, and the player stats have definitely helped. We'll see if they'll be better than Winnipeg in the coming days. But anyway, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, I figured that was coming from you, Carter.
Yeah. Josh Morrissey literally owns the Dallas Stars. I just want everyone to know this.
All right.
Okay.
Anyways, we're gonna take a little break here, and then we will finish this off with the final 7 teams.
All right, so coming in at number 7, we got the Seattle Kraken, another surprising team that cracks the top 10 here. Goals for 3.6, goals against 3.16.
Get it? Kraken
Yeah,
cracks the top 10.
okay, I didn't even mean to do that, not gonna lie.
Look at you, Jack the Judge.
I know,
you're
look at me
so
go.
funny.
It's just natural.
You're so funny.
I know.
Who expected Seattle to be this good? I want to just any of you. Did you guys expect this?
No, not at all.
I had no clue they'd be this good, but they are just firing on all cylinders right now. Like this team looks really, really good. I'm gonna give it to Carter right away for the player stats because they're impressive. Like it's impressive.
This entire team has like turned it around.
Yeah.
Looking at their leading scorer, Andrei Burakovsky. This guy he's good again. Never really like found this groove with the Washington Capitals. I think that's where he was, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Colorado before, but then he was.
Who am I thinking of then? Oh, I'm thinking of the guy that's. I don't know who I'm thinking of right now, so we're just gonna completely scratch everything I've just said. He's got 26 through 25. Jordan Eberle, he's got 22 through 25. Matty Beniers, he's got 21 through 25. Obviously, pretty much everyone else's besides me called their pick at the start of the year. I don't know why I said Owen Power, but not looking so good now.
You just couldn't think of any goalies.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anyone off the top of my head. But anyways, their leading goal scorer, Jared McCann. Wow, has he been good?
Yeah.
He's got 12 goals through 22 games, 17 points in total. He's only got 5 assists. Someone should tell him to learn to pass the puck, but if you're scoring, you're scoring. So nice there. And then Vince Dunn, he's got 16 through 25, and that's rounding out their top 5.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising how good this team's been. You don't have one player absolutely playing crazy. I mean, Burakovsky, he's 4 points ahead of Everly, but still, it's really been kind of a team effort from this group, and I really like it. You look at the goaltending, it's not that good. Probably the worst goaltending in the entire top 10, if we're being honest. You have Martin Jones there, 19 games played, a 12-5-2 record, a 2.97 goals against average, and a .8888 save percentage. Then you have Philip Grubauer as the backup there, not 7 games played, a 2-2-1 record, a 3.40 goals against average, and a .868 save percentage. Obviously, Seattle's still got some work to do with the goaltending, but definitely so far this season, it's been still a trek in the right direction. But honestly, when they get to the playoffs with that goaltending, I highly doubt they're really going to get anything done. So it sucks, but obviously the goaltending is going to be the biggest thing that you need to fix. But anyways, here moving on to number 6. Who do we got, Jack?
Yeah, number 6, we got the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, Carter, you deserve it. Yeah, look at him. Look at him. Wow. All right, yeah, so goals for 3.29 and goals allowed 2.54.
I'm going to let Carter just talk as he gets out of jersey and puts it on.
Yeah.
Carter, I'm going to let you talk about the Jets. And then you can just dive straight into player stats whenever you want to, because this is your team.
I am just absolutely buzzing right now. Jets are what is going on with them? They're finding their groove. Paul Maurice, I talked about this with the Florida Panthers, sucks. It's proven. We didn't change much this year. We didn't change anything. Cole Perfetti got better. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah, basically.
Coaching was our issue, and we tackled it, and now look where we are. 6th best in the league. It's awesome. I love being a Jets fan. You guys are like very upset right now. You guys like just looking down at your phones. I don't care. Jets Nation, stand up. Wow. Okay, player stats. Josh Norrisy, 27 through 24. Oh my gosh, this guy has found a new gear, and it is awesome. I am a big fan of Norrisy. Wow. He has been awesome. Kyle Connor, he's finding his scoring groove. He was slow last year, put up close to 50. Slow this year. Is he going to put up 50? I don't know. I think he will. Anyways, Pierre-Luc Dubois, trade talks all season. I think he's going to stay now because we're actually winning games. He's got 25 through 24 with 11 goals. Not our leading goal scorer, but he's elite. Blake Wheeler, I talked about why we should trade him. to be honest, I still do think that should look at trading him because he's like really good now. So maybe like we could get a nice return for him. But anyways, he's been really good. He's got 23 points through 24. Why? How? This is awesome. Mark Scheifele, our leading goal scorer, 15 goals this year, 21 points in 24 games. Yeah, Cole Perfetti. I love Cole. I'm probably gonna get a Cole Perfetti jersey at some point soon. He is absolutely unreal. I love me some Cole Perfetti. He's got 16 through 24. I know that he's like their sixth guy, but yeah, again, just firing on all cylinders. This is just awesome to see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. This team has been exceptionally good. Like surprisingly really good. Like I think Carter was even saying that this team was going to be pretty bad.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But when you look at goalie stats, Hellebuck, 19 games played, 13-5-1, a 2.26 goals against average, and a .932 save percentage, playing that at that elite level as always. Then you have David Riddick, 5 games played, 3-2-0, a 3.07 goals against average, and a .881 save percentage. Obviously, a really solid team as a whole, and the Jets are there. We'll see if they can keep this going and maybe carry it into the playoffs as Carter dances in his room. But anyways,
so right now.
We're going to move on to number 5, moving into the top 5. Who do we got, Jack?
Yeah, starting off top 5, we got Carolina Hurricanes, team with high expectations and living up to it. Goals for 2.88, goals allowed 2.77.
You know, they were a little bit iffy there in between states, but I think definitely the Hurricanes have definitely turned it around and are playing some of their best hockey right now. There's really no one solidified player that is really kind of taking the lead over this team. And like in previous years, it's kind of been a team effort. So I'm going to hand it over to Carter to talk about how this team is kind of just all over when it comes to points.
Yeah, this team is very deep. Like, as we know, Carolina always seems to have like somewhat of a very deep roster. Martin Necas, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's got 28 through 26. Sebastian Aho, probably their best player for a long time. He's going to continue to be their best player. He's got 27 through 26. Andrei Svechnikov, he's got 25 through 26. He's got 15 goals. Their leading goal scorer. Their big acquisition in the offseason, Brent Burns, he's looked sharp with this Hurricanes team. He's got 19 through 26. And then Martinook, he's got 13 through 26, and so does Seth Jarvis.
Yeah, Martinook is shocking. Jordan Martinook in the top 5? Wow.
Pretty much like right after like Brent Burns, he's got 19, and then it drops to Martinook with 13. There's like a decent gap in between there, but still, like the rest of the team is very deep still. Yeah, only a couple guys that don't have points, but
yeah, the core is still very solid. Kakanyemi there, I'd like to mention how he's going to be in Carolina for the next 7 years. He only has 5 goals in 26 games. Tara Vinen as well has kind of struggled. 7 points through 16 games. I think he might be hurt there a little bit, but still kind of underwhelming stats for a player like him. You look at goaltending, you have 3 goalies in here, obviously, starting off with Frederik Andersen, who has kind of been iffy this year. 5-3-0, a 2.72 goals against average, and a .891 save percentage. Then you have Antti Raanta, 9 games played, a 4-2-2 record, a 2.62 goals against average, and a .894 save percentage. And then last but not least, you have Pyotr Kochetov, through 10 games played as a 5-1-4 record, a 2.44 goals against average, and a .914 save percentage. Goaltending's kind of been a little bit different this season with the Carolina Hurricanes, but obviously they're still a really solid team and still picking up the pace. Anyways, we'll move on to number 4.
Yeah, number 4, another team with high expectations, obviously not in the playoffs. The Toronto Maple Leafs, goals for 3.07, goals against 2.41.
Yep, obviously another really good team here. Obviously they started off the season bad as they usually do, but they've obviously turned it around. And I mean, hey, there's really, if you're looking at a player, there's really one player right now in Toronto that has been absolutely insane. And I'm going to let Carter talk about him.
Mitchell Marner, after today's game, at the time of recording this, it's 21 points streak now. He's got 32 through his 27 games played. I don't know when this is gonna stop. I mean, we asked this question last time, and after going through a couple more games, how long do you guys realistically think this could go?
I think he's not going to break the record because the record's like 51 by Wayne Gretzky. I highly doubt that. But I could see it going as far as maybe 30. I think he could reach at least at 30, and maybe it can go even further than that. Who knows? I mean, Marner's been like firing on all cylinders right now. He's been absolutely crazy. So it could go anyway.
Yeah. I don't know when this thing can end, but I don't know. He's been electric so far. Austin Matthews, he's not necessarily back to his 60 goal season that he was last year, but he's definitely started to pick up the pace after a slow start to this season. He's got 30 through 27. John Tavares, he's got 27 through in 27, a point per game guy. William Nylander, he's got 26 through 27. And then Michael Bunting, 17 through 27 into his sophomore season as a 28-year-old, 27-year-old.
That's actually crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, obviously Toronto, they're big five guys flying on all cylinders. Morgan Riley doesn't even have a goal yet, which I kind of found surprising. Kerfoot actually kind of struggling, 11 points in 27 games played. Kind of surprising. But then again, or I almost said O'Reilly. Riley's kind of missed a couple games, so I guess it makes sense. When you look in net, you start off here with Ilya Samsonov, who has actually been really good. A 7-2-0 record, a 2.09 goals against average, and a .924 save percentage. Then you have Matt Murray, 9 games played, a 6-1-2 record, a 2.34 goals against average, and a .932 save percentage. Obviously, that goaltending was really underrated, and I was definitely one of the people that doubted it. But of course, like a lot of things, I was wrong. So definitely good there for Toronto, and we'll see if they can finally make it past the first round this year. Anyways, I'll hand it over to Jack, and we'll go over number 3.
Yeah, number 3, we got Vegas. Goals for 3.41, goals allowed 2.63, and really good start to the year.
Yeah, you guys want to know where I had them?
At the bottom. You had them missing the playoffs, right?
7th in the division. Yeah, that looks awesome for me, right? I was definitely
to be honest, I don't think any of us were actually high on Vegas. Like to be fair to you, I don't think any of us were high on Vegas. Coach Cassidy's been really made this team look good, and they should be good, but they don't even have Robin Leonard, I don't think, still.
I was worried about the goaltending, but the goaltending has looked awesome.
Thompson.
Honestly.
LT.
I'll give it over to you, Carter, because there's one player who has been leading the way, and it looks like he's gotten his revenge on this year.
Jack Eichel. Wow.
Tage Thompson.
He's got 29 points through 26 games, and I mean, like, let's be honest here. Tage Thompson, he's only 8 points behind if we're only taking his goals.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, this team has been...
Anyways.
He's been crazy.
That was such a shitty laugh. I'm so sorry you all had to hear me. Chandler Stevenson, he's got 22 through 28. Shea Theodore tied with him as well, 22 through 28. Jonathan Marchessault, he's got 21 through 28. And Mark Stone as well, tied with him there. Pretty even scoring throughout kind of their top 5. All of their top guys have 20 plus points. And there's not really a big like drop off point after the top 5 as like most teams do have. But yeah, they've looked good, and Jack Eichel, their primary goal scorer, so he's been good.
Overall, a really solid team. Got to give a special shout out to the hot dog man, Phil Kessel, breaking Iron Man streak. We talked about it on the pod, I think. But also he's played 1,000 consecutive games, which is crazy. You talk about 1,000 games being a huge milestone, but 1,000 straight is unreal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Looking at goaltending here, it's actually really interesting. Starting off with Logan Thompson, 19 games played, a 13-6-0 record, and a 2.68 goals against average, and a .918 save percentage. Then you have Aiden Hill as the backup there, 9 games played, a 2.55 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. Obviously that was one of the things that I doubted when I put Vegas at 7. I said that the goaltending was going to be the reason why they were going to be bad, but Thompson's definitely proved me wrong, and I'm honestly kind of glad about it because I've really enjoyed watching Vegas play. I'm going to be honest. But anyways,
That's
here
better.
now, moving on to number 2. There's only 2 teams left, so who's who, Jack?
Yeah, so number 2, Boston Bruins, really good team. Oh, that's what I'll say. Goals for 3.96, goals against 2.17.
Yeah, and like I will say this too, they are neck and neck with number 1. I'm not gonna say number 1, you can probably guess it, but they are pretty neck and neck with number 1, so it's been kind of competitive. This team actually, like a lot of people were saying that they would be bad this year because of the Marchand injury and the McAvoy injury, but again, Boston proves why you shouldn't doubt them. So I'm going to give it to Carter with the player stats. There is a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, there definitely is. Their team has been unreal to start this off. They're actually crazy depth. And usually, like I've said before, there's usually a big drop off between the top 5. There is a huge drop off between 1 and 2. Looking at their primary point scorers, you guys can probably guess David Pastrnak. Wow, has he been good to start this year off? He's got 18 goals, 18 assists for 36 points through 25 games. One thing that does suck is in one of my fantasy hockey leagues, I play this guy who's a Bruins fan, and most of his team consists of Bruins players.
Don't
It's,
blame him.
and then the worst part is he also has Tage Thompson.
Yeah,
I'm screwed this week, but anyways, back to this. So there's a big drop off between 1 and 2, and their number 2 guy, Patrice Bergeron, he's got 21 points through 25 games. He's still looked good. Like, even though he's getting old up there in age, he's still performing at a very good pace for even an NHLer. Brad Marchand injured to start the year. We were all surprised when he came back so early. But he's back and he's got 21 through 17 games. So he didn't really miss a lot of time in the regular season, but he's definitely made his presence felt again. Taylor Hall, he's been pretty solid with the Bruins. I have to admit, he's been pretty good with them there. He's got 20 through 25. And then David Krejci finishing out their top 5. He's got 20 through 22. And then one guy I did want to bring up, Charlie McAvoy. Since his return, he's got 13 through 12 games. So he's kind of back to that primary defenseman for this Bruins organization.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Definitely a really solid team. Fun fact, I'm actually looking at the NordCast Fantasy League. I'm beating Carter right now. So
Ooh, you guys are playing each other?
yeah, we're playing each other. I forgot about that.
Get a little bet going.
Yeah, we should make a bet. That's a good idea. But
That seems
I was
awful.
thinking I have Thompson in one of my fantasy leagues. I know
I do too. I'm in my other one, not
Yeah.
the Nordcast.
I have like a million different fantasy leagues that I'm in. So I think I was just straight dominating with Thompson. Like I got like 20 Thompson notifications. It was crazy. Anyways, looking at goalies here, Linus Ullmark. Holy crap. 15-1-0, a 1.82 goals against average through 18 games in. That's like Patty Raw, Dominic Hasek level stats. And
He's been awesome.
yeah, that's insane. Like a .939 save percentage. And then you have Jeremy Swayman there as well. 9 games played, 5-2-1, a 2.63 goals against average, and a .899 save percentage. Obviously, Ullmark playing unbelievable, just like literally one of the best players I've seen in a long time. He's been playing like crazy. And then Swayman kind of struggled a little bit, but he's starting to get back on pace. But anyways, we got one more team left. It's been a really long podcast. So we're going to wrap it up at number 1. Who do we got?
Yeah, number 1, none other than the New Jersey Devils. Goals for 3.69, goals against 2.19.
I think we may have expected the Devils to be better. I think some of us may have thought that the Devils were going to be at least a little bit better. But did we think they were going to be this much better? Did any of you guys think that?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
This team has been absolutely crazy. And not only that, like, it's not just like one player. It's yet again, a team effort. There's so many players that are playing absolutely unreal. on this team right now. So for the last time, for the 32nd time, I'm going to give it to Carter, and he can read us off the player stats.
All right. Well, their leading scorer, the man that was called a bust after 1 year in the NHL, Mr. Jack Hughes. He's finally found his groove in the NHL, and
Yes, he
he's
has.
here. And he is, let me tell you, great player. Great player. He's got 31 points through 26 games. Jesper Bratt, he's got 28 through 26. Nico Hischier, another guy that was a first overall pick, wasn't living up to his expectations. He's living up to it now. He's got 27 through 25. Dougie Hamilton, I can't remember. Was he on the team last year? I can't remember.
He was.
Okay, so he wasn't a free agent acquisition. I can never remember with him. But in his second year with them, he's got 19 through 26. And then Thomas Tatar, he's got 15 through 26.
Yeah, definitely a really solid team as a whole. Almost everybody's playing really good right now, and I think it's great. And even with Andre Palat out, they're still really, really solid. When you look at goalies, you start off here with Vitek Vanacek, and really, I'm going to be honest, like the goalies are the sole reason why this team has turned it around. And that was like the issue last year of why this team wasn't good. Goalies have saved them. Vitek Vanacek, 17 games played, 12-2-1, a 2.10 goals against average and a .922 save percentage. Then you have Mackenzie Blackwood, 7 games played, 4-2-0, a 2.79 goals against average and a .880 save percentage. Then you have Akira Schmid. It's funny how he has mid in his last name, but he's actually pretty good. 5 games played, 5-0-0, a 1.42 goals against average and a .949 save percentage. Obviously only through 5 games, but still pretty good. Yeah, the Devils obviously a really solid team this year. Didn't expect them to be this good. And that recaps our team report of the entire NHL. All 32 teams we covered in this video or podcast. I'm not sure how long this is, but I'm definitely banking on at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was recorded over 2 days, by the way. 2
Yes,
days.
it was.
Just podcast grinding from us, me in a different setup in 2 different episodes. I thought that was kind of funny.
Same setup, just with a hat.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for the support through the first 10 episodes of the NordCast. It's been unreal. Me, Jack, and Carter have had a great time recording the first 10 episodes. We've had many guests on, not LeBlanc James. We were going to have him on. TKD Max BJJ. We had M Bon Hockey on. We had Michael McNiven join us on the podcast. It's been really fun, guys. Thank you for the first 10 episodes, and we cannot wait to bring you more on this journey. Definitely probably 2 to 3 more before the year comes to a close. So yeah, that'll do it for us. Thank you all very much for listening. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure to give us a good 5-star review and tell your friends about the best podcast in the hockey world. That was biased. I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.